and gentlemen, here is Amber Lowe. And you know what? We're going to have a conversation about all this wonderful stuff that's centered around love. I could not let her leave without always sharing all this wonderful stuff that she's experienced because she's a walking encyclopedia about love. So you ready, Amber?
I'm ready.
My first question is your blend comedy and matchmaking is a powerful way. How does laughter help singles break down walls and build real romantic connections?
I think it helps break through the facade, the mask. As they say, we always send our representatives on the dates, and then they find out, hey, I didn't wake up like this. Okay. Okay. Well, now we don't want nobody that shallow, but I'm just using it as the example that we put this image in the front. And they say there's three faces: the one we show the world, the one that we show our inner circle, and then the one we show ourselves, right? And so the more you can be yourself, the better it is. And so that you got, but I also think you got to be very careful in how you joke about yourself or someone else, because the subconscious does not know you're joking. It really thinks you're serious, and that's why the negative self-talk. That's why we go against that in normal conversation. But in joking, you still want to be, conscientious of what you're saying. But I think, if we can just show somebody, I've got insecurities too. I'm human too. You know what? Look at this ingrown toenail. Isn't that horrible? Like, I mean, this it's just look, I got a corn on my toe. You wanna bite it off? Like, I mean, it's just joking. It's just making fun. But this is why I always recommend couples on a first date going to a comedy club. You can have dinner. It gives you time during dinner to like just kind of see what in the world do they like to eat, because we ain't shopping the same. My grocery bill just doubled. Red flag. Okay. But you can just kind of assess a little bit about how do they treat the wait staff? How do they treat somebody they're not attracted to or they not interested in? That is very important. Very, very important. Because how you do one thing is usually how you do everything. Then by the time the comedy comes on, now you can really learn what their value system is by what they laugh at. You can even learn what their pain points are by what they might even cry at. And so comedy is a great tool to use to get to know somebody in general. And excuse me, it's a great tool to show you that none of us are perfect.
Mm, mm. My next question.
Okay.
Now, you've matched millionaires. What's the number one mindset shift everyday singles over 40 need to adopt to attract high value partners?
Okay. Well, I take the equally yoked expression a little further than biblical meaning. I think it's every way. I think that a bunch of hypocrites shouldn't be asking for something they're not. I think that you need to check your own eye before you look at what's in theirs. What's in your backyard, don't worry about what's in theirs. Check yourself first, right? Check yourself for real, because you're going to be, if you go through your whole life thinking it's always somebody else, you will wind up alone. But as far as millionaires, the people that reach to that level are disciplined in a level that they're not going to tolerate. That's I didn't like Kevin Samuels. Rest in peace. I never liked. I don't like. And there's another girl. I can't remember her name. But anybody that's trying to spread toxic positivity, something like that, like, oh, you're the prize, oh, you're over 40. He was telling women, you're over 40, you should just share a man. No, that's not biblical. I mean, that's where we have to listen as we take advice from experts. Do they align with what you know is the truth, or not? But the thing I have to tell ladies is, everybody tells me, oh, Amber, I want to meet a millionaire, I want to meet blah, blah, blah. You're not disciplined enough.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that people get upset, and that's why I'm a tough love coach. I can, you want a millionaire? Okay, well, here's some steps we're gonna have to take, but you got to be coachable, and that's why a lot of times people don't they miss opportunity to date up, and as far as financially, but they miss it because they don't understand somebody with a millionaire mindset. It's not allowing excuses. And so if you to make it to that level, unless they inherited it, but to be around somebody like that, you're gonna have to know how to think that way, behave that way, and talk that way. Everybody thinks they want a millionaire. There's a difference in wanting a millionaire to build with and just wanting to be a gold digger, as they say, a glucose guardian. Okay.
I love it. Okay, here's my next question.
Okay.
You created a media empire and led with authenticity. What's your advice for singles, especially women who want to lead with confidence without scaring away potential partners?
This industry is very challenging for women in general. I mean, in the workplace, I saw in my mental health studies, 78%, in this one study, it said 78% of women surveyed admitted that they were miserable in the workplace. 95% felt like they were underpaid, underappreciated. And then it was like 85% that felt like this job is going to kill me through stress, right? That's not good. That's really not good. And
Mhm.
so the things that we value are, we have to really decide what we value, right? We have to really understand going in what we value, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's with our friendships. We want to make sure that we are not putting ourselves in a situation where we hate where we are, and then we're in resistance, and you can't manifest anything in resistance. The only way you can attain your blessings is through gratitude.
Mhm. I agree. You teach corporate leaders how to inject fun into the
Hmm.
workplace. What lessons can mature singles take from that when dating feels like another job interview?
You're not going to apply for the jobs you don't want, right?
Mm,
And one guy that I dated back when I was single, he was like, "Oh, I can't believe you brought your matchmaking form." I'm like, "Do you know me? Okay. Do you think I filter for everybody else, but I'm not going to filter for me? I'm going to, what's your middle name? Okay." But I think it's really about not worrying about the people that you have no interest in, no time. Get off social media. It more than 2 hours of social media a day. It causes proven, it causes depression. It's not where it's at. Don't waste your time. If you know you want somebody quality, online dating, it's about looking at the odds, right? My mom, as a matchmaker, told me when I first started, she was like, you have to show people that it's all about where you meet them as well, right? So if I
mm,
meet you at a networking event, I'm at least know a little bit more about your energy, right? But if I meet you at the bar, the bar is what I call, that's what I call online. I call online the lazy man's bar, right? So
mhm,
stop going to things that you're like, oh, I guess I'm just gonna look at this. I'm just gonna settle. You wouldn't settle for an employee. You
mm,
wouldn't settle for a spouse.
mm,
So why
mm,
are you settling with a job you hate? Like, no, life's too short for that. Go for it. Like, get your bucket list out. You know what? Because even when I joined this industry, I went in this industry. My first 20 years in business was, I was a project manager. I was operations manager. I was a what do you call it? Insta, uh, national operations manager. So I did operations and project management for 20 years before I even got in this, right? So but I didn't want that. And the guy that I was seeing at the time, he was like, "Well, what have you always wanted to do?" And I'm like, "Well, I want to be a matchmaker like my mom." So I left at the time I was only making about 80,000, but it was still a good job as a single mom, no degree, right? I left
mm,
that and I started over at $9 an hour
oh,
plus 7% commission. And I was closing 100% of my deals. Within 2 months, they promoted me to director of marketing. And they're like, well, you're closing 80% of that. Let's get you and see if maybe you're good at talking to people and helping them. And that's kind of how it all started. But I'm glad that we brought that up, because that is a pivotal point of jumping. I don't
mm,
want this. I don't want to work in this industry. Okay, well, how bad? How bad? I just didn't know. Like I said, I gave myself 15 years. The 15-year Sharon will be this October.
oh,
And we've reached our goal. So look at God. All the time I lost after my sister passed away, and then we're still right back on track. So God's timing is perfect. You can trust it.
I agree wholeheartedly. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the matchmaker hotline. It's bold, it's spicy, it's real. What are some dating red flags that women often overlook? And how
Hmm.
do you coach them to trust their instincts?
Because you know, your first instinct, if I can't trust you, nothing else. If I didn't learn one thing this last year, it was to trust my instinct.
Mm,
Everything that I thought there was a red flag or a sign, but that's why I say anything you have to have in order to be happy, the devil can and will use you to keep you trapped in that, right? And it really is about trusting your intuition and believe one thing: people do what they want to do and people do what you let them.
mm,
People that want success don't waste them, well, they don't waste their time on non-productive things. You just have to be true to it, and it's much easier to separate from something even if you really like, oh, I've got a major crush, like I'm like, I'm jonesing, like I like them for real. So what? So what? The devil is never going to play fair, and he's going to send in somebody that looks like everything you ever dreamed of, and only to find out it's not. And so it is about trust your instincts, but it's also understand, don't make decisions when you're in grief, because you can also make bad mistakes there too. But trust your gut, man. I'm telling you, I heard a preacher say it once, Sharon. He said the first voice is God,
mm,
anything after that is the devil trying to play games.
I hear you. Okay, what are the top three things that men over 40 are actually looking for, but rarely say out loud when seeking love today?
A mother. Today's men, Sharon. No, there's a reason I cannot. No. Mm-mm.
Looking for a
We,
mother,
we
huh?
don't we don't we, I advise, no matter how old you are, don't date anybody under 40. Okay. Maybe before, actually maybe 45, because there actually was a new scientific study that also just came out that said men, y'all ready for this? Men technically do not fully mature until they're 45.
Wow.
So 45 and up is where it's at. Okay. It's our time, or what do they say? Country people meet, whatever, to get the older ones, get the older ones. I'm Generation X, and I'm realizing, and that's why even with the studies are showing how people don't want to hire millennials, people in the generation past. It's just a different work ethic. It's a different time. We were raised different. So, yeah, no, I'm not, yeah.
Okay. So you've been on 2020 and
Hmm.
the Tonight Show and
Hmm.
even have your own day in Houston. How has success affected your personal approach to love and matchmaking?
Huh, that's interesting. It just really, through my personal, the 15 years I've given myself to do it, is the reflection of looking back is I probably would have already been where I wanted to go, honestly, if I
Mhm,
was true to what my gut, my instinct, what I knew. You have to own your part, and the part you play in not uh, hitting the deadlines or not hitting the goals. And so you have to own your own part of it, right? But you also have to really, it's a lesson to slow down, let God go before you, trust the vetting process. Just let God put them in your life. And so now, Sharon, my new filter for anyone that wants to work with me is very simple. It's one question: I need to know why you're doing it, right? Because that's super important. Like, because this is a very pain filled purpose. I don't have to go through any of the stuff I've been through at all. But I picked up my cross, and whatever the lesson, I'm grateful, because there's always a lesson even in the pain. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that that someone can look me in my eyes and tell me, when I ask them, hey Sharon, do you fear God?
mhm,
If you don't fear God, we can't work together.
mhm,
Because if you, those are and that's just been the valuable lesson as success has come up. It a lot of people are not prepared for the pain of success
Mm-hmm.
because most the people fall off and then they blame you for being the one that changed. But the truth is, they're just not comfortable. And I'm like, there's no need for jealousy. There's enough for everybody. I'm only competing against my last thing I've done, right? But you can have it too. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be jealous. You can have everything that I've done and more
Mm-hmm.
if you will just give it to God. But trying to do it in human street, you're going to get played by demons every time.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay. For singles navigating faith, fame, or failure, what's your best advice for starting over without shame and with style?
Oof. Amen. Therapy, therapy, and therapy. Okay. Seriously, like I was never somebody that was advocate for therapy until I lost my sister. But a year ago, that's when I started owning my own accountability. You have to own it yourself. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to break all my crutches off of me. And so I became celibate. I have not. I've had one Dr. Pepper in the last 3 weeks, which, if you know me, I have about six a day, at
Oh,
least. Seriously,
mm,
and I'm just taking my total. It's a total mindset. It's all of it. It's your mind. When you think of it, this is a temple, and you really start. I never really looked at it like that, and so I looked at. I mean, I like Dr. Pepper, okay, and chocolate. Anything else with sugar addiction in it? Yeah, sugar's 8 times more addicting than cocaine. Okay, so I am Amber, and I love Dr. Pepper. But I'm honestly kind of mind blown that it's been this easy to give it up. Because once I totally surrendered and that supernatural power took over my body,
mm.
it's almost like I tried it the other day just to see how I like it. Like, that's so sweet. But my point is, miracles exist, and once you get into true obedience, watch the miracles. I mean, it is just mind blowing.
Oh, that's huge and so true. Okay.
Yes.
You say failure isn't final, it's just the setup for your next punchline. What's one personal love lesson you learned the hard way, and how did you bounce back?
Whew, girl. Well, like I said, it was Amber Lowe, and then it became Amber Neal, and then it became Amber Lowe. And so my biggest fear as a matchmaker, which is why I stayed. Everybody's like, "Why are you single? I've been single for 20 years. Why are you single?" I'd have relationships, keep it private, but never married anyone. That was
Mm-hmm.
one because my kids. I'm divorced from my kid's dad, and we got married when we were real young. Oh, he's cute and he could dance. Yeah, that didn't work. But, after that, my son asked me to stay single, so I did. I stayed single until he graduated. He's a grown man now, made me a grandma. But the lesson I've learned is I look at the generational curse. Like my mom, for example, she's divorced 3 times. She's a matchmaker, match made all her friends to their husbands, and none of them ever divorced, but divorced 3 times herself. But that's because the mental illness that runs in our family has nothing to do with our gift of the spirit. That's a talent. There's a gift. There's a difference. And my biggest fear, Sharon, was going through a public divorce as a matchmaker. I couldn't think of anything that would be more horrific. But guess what? It happened because I picked a man that were not equal yoked,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew that. That's the crazy part. But this is why I say don't make a decision in grief, because I was so in grief over my sister that I'm normally very hyper independent, but that I just needed somebody at that time. And he was there and we were business partners and it was just so easy, but there was just so many complications externally with his family. It was just too much at that time. And God told me, he's like, I'm not telling you to get a divorce, but I'm telling you, surrender him to me. And I was like, wow, okay. And that's what I did. And so I went public and I told everybody that my husband and I have separated. We haven't decided for divorce. I had decided to give it a year. and went public with it. But let me tell you, it was the most liberating thing that I
Mm,
ever did in my life, Sharon. The most biggest fear you can imagine happens,
mm-hmm,
it sets you free. The
mm-hmm,
devil cannot shame me with that anymore, because I want to address what you were saying, shame. Once you get out of the shame, you're only as sick as your secrets, and that is the devil's job, is to keep you in shame, right? Now, and that's why he had my mind trapped for all those years. Oh, don't get married, because what if you get a divorce, no, but God said, he's like, matchmaking has been, that's cool. He's like, but show the mental health, show the parts of you and him that were both unhealed, how y'all bled on each other, how you think a lot of us that have gifts like this, that have gone through severe compound trauma, as he and I both have, we think healing everybody else is the answer. It's
mm,
not. We heal ourselves by helping people. It does help us, it does make us feel better. But to really accomplish whatever you're trying to do, and to really let God use you and work through you, you have to heal all parts of you, your mind, your body, everything. You have to heal it. Otherwise, that mindset is what I'm on trying to teach now, because now that I've gone through the most humiliating thing I thought I could go through, it's been the most amazing thing. And I've gone forth, and I've been so vulnerable, and I've talked about my mistakes as a parent, my mistakes as a wife, my mistakes as a leader. I mean, just when we can be human, everybody wants to be, Facebook, but stop being so fake book, and you might actually accomplish some of your goals, because God, you might be fooling the public, but trust and believe God judges the heart space.
girl, you just preaching today, ain't you?
Pass the collection plate. Okay.
My last question. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Yes.
In one sentence,
Oh Lord.
what's your ultimate matchmaking mantra for
Mm,
grown folks looking for love with purpose, power, and passion?
I think I already said it, but I'll say it again. It is, people do what they want to do, and people do what you let them. That's
Mm,
it. I mean, once you stop making excuses, once you really categorize, and that applies to anything, work, family, friend, it don't matter. You literally understand that if they wanted to, they would. Free yourself from a situationship, free yourself from the bondage of sin, free yourself from all the lies. All you have to do is just be truthful with yourself. That's it. Just be real. Just if they wanted to, they would. And
mm,
sometimes it's not that they don't even want to. Sometimes people are damaged, hurt people, and the trauma is going to be passed down to you. We're going to bleed on each other. That's what I realized in my own marriage. We were bleeding on each other. I have
mm,
been in therapy for a year and healed, and we're now divorced. But you know what? God has the final answer. I'm still praying for him. I still love him. That was my husband, but unfortunately, we're not ready. You have to know when you're ready for that job, that promotion. And I'll leave you with this. When I got my first CEO job in corporate America, my dad, I thought he was being mean at the time, but I get it now. And this is why I'm talking about that mindset. He said, well, your first job as CEO is to hire a real one. I was like, that's so mean. I get it now. Because people, everybody, even the president of the United States, no matter which party, they all have advisors, they all have a cabinet.
mm.
So don't think you know everything and you actually might accomplish everything.
Oh, I love it. You have dropped so many nuggets today, and I thank you for sharing a whole hour with me. And
Oh, thank you. It went so
yes,
fast. It was so much fun.
yes, and it has been worth every second. And my prayer for you, Amber Love, is
Yes.
that doors were open that no man can shut, and that
Amen.
you will take those stilettos and walk in places that are uncommon for women to walk, and you will open doors that no man can shut. And I love you.
I love you too, girl. Thank you so much.
Have a great one. And audience, there is more to come. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Bye bye, Amber.
Bye.